Siman Memhei is what we started, Din Tefillin Bebet HaKvarot, which is a very interesting part that we had recently in the Gemara as well. Asur Lichnos Bebet HaKvarot is the concept of Loeg L'Rash, mocking a poor, that they cannot do mitzvot. Kevan Shemet Adam Naaseh Chofshi Mina Mitzvot, that once a person dies, it becomes Chofshi Mina Mitzvot, you can no longer do the mitzvot, and hence, therefore, a person should not flaunt, so to speak, the ability of doing the mitzvot to the metim. So therefore, you do not enter Bet HaKvarot or the 4 amot of a dead body or a kever with tefillin on your body because of Loeg L'Rash. Now, well, we read the Mishna Berurah. Basically, Kaf HaChaim says a very interesting thing. He brings, first of all, that the 4 amot of the corpse that we speak about, Kaf HaChaim says the whole room is considered like 4 amot. So if you have, you become a shomer to a dead body, sometimes you have Chevra Kadisha hiring young Bachrim because they want to have around the clock 24/7 shmirah for the bodies, which the halacha has it, until they are buried. So what do you do when you have your guard on the dead body and you want to put on tefillin? So you say, well, I'll go 4 amot away and I'll put on my tefillin. Absolutely not, because that room that you're in, together with the coffin, that is considered 4 amot. That all of it is considered like the immediate surrounding of the corpse, and therefore you cannot do it in that room. Again, this is something that's beautiful that people do. Many people, they volunteer for Chevra Kadisha. Some of them in the process of tahara, of cleaning, washing, and getting the body ready for the kvura. One of my chavrutas goes once a month, and he told me, he said, aside from being chesed shelamet, a true chesed, as the Gemara says, is also a tremendous musar. You go there, you see people who have lived the whole life, and now, they're laying there, basically all of the goals, all the aspirations, all the things that they had in mind to accomplish and they never came through. It's a tremendous musar for a person not to waste time in life and so on. So there are a lot of people who volunteer for Chevra Kadisha, and it's important to note that these are questions that actually come up. So Kaf HaChaim says the entire room basically is considered like 4 amot, and that's the psak of Ateret Zekenim that Mishna Berurah also brought. So Kaf HaChaim really passes like that. The Ben Ish Chai also seems in Od Yosef Chaim Parashat Vayechi, who talks about these halachot, he also seems to indicate the same thing, that a person should stay away from putting on tefillin in the entire room, even if the room is a very large one. Now, the Mishna Berurah brings also that even a kever of a katan, even a minor that never put on tefillin, you still have to stay away from putting on tefillin in front of the kever of a katan. And that is because even a isha, even a woman that never put on tefillin, they're not chayav tefillin, you still should stay away, because conceptually, when you show that you could put on tefillin and they can't put on tefillin, that's something that, of course, is considered lo'eg l'rash, and that's what the Kaf HaChaim indicates as well. Now, there is the general reason behind the concept of mocking the poor. The Mekor Chaim writes a different reason behind this as well, specific to the mitzvah of tefillin. It says mitzvah of tefillin and mezuzah, they actually keep the mazikim away. The Gemara in Baba Metzia Daf Kuf Aleph, you see that from the Gemara there. You see it also from Chazal, who say V'ra'u kol ha'amei ha'aretz ki shem Hashem nikra alecha v'yara'u mimeka, that when a person interpretation for the mazikim, for both mazikim physical and spiritual, the bedelim imenu, that they separate themselves from a person. So it says the neshama of the deceased sees that all of the mazikim, all the kochot tumah, all the negative powers, they are completely separating themselves from this person that's put on putting on tefillin, and for them, they don't have that schut. For them, they don't have that ability. So that's something, of course, that is considered extra mockery for the mitzvah of tefillin, aside from all the other mitzvot as well. Now, how about a karka hamuktzeh lebet hakvarot? Imagine if you have necessarily within the 4 amot of kever, and the Mishna Berurah really discusses this in Biur Halacha. He says that a karka that is designated, a land that's designated for being used as cemetery, then you don't have the isur. Even when you're outside of it, you don't have isur, even 1 amma. But within it is a question. In other words, if you bought, let's say, 50 acres of land for Bet HaKvarot, that 50 acres that's miyuchad is muktzeh for Bet HaKvarot, you should maybe stay away from it. But even 1 amma outside of that, so long as it's not within 4 amot of a kever, is mutar. So in other words, if the line of a kever finishes here and the property finishes here, and here already is 4 amot away from the last kever, outside the boundaries of this list, and say Shema. And this actually happens to be very practical. These things, again, people think that it's, it's not that practical. There is a bit of kvarot that I actually used to send. It's a from one's own part of it, owned by the Chevra Kadisha. And I would have the Kohanim usually go there because there was 1 row of kvarot. I think now it's filled up. That is literally by the fence, and you could stand outside of the kever, and there's a mechitza there, and so on. So part of it may not have the mechitza, and for Kohanim may become a question. But can you say Shema standing right outside the Bet HaKvarot, or the premises of the Bet HaKvarot, and say Shema? Now you're 4 amot away from the last kever, right? But you're not 4 amot away from the Bet HaKvarot. So Kaf HaChaim is machmir. He says you have premises of a cemetery. Within the 4 amot of a premises of a cemetery, you should not say Shema and Dvarim Shebikdusha and wear tefillin either, because that's also considered attached basically to the Bet HaKvarot as well. Okay, so that's a chumrah of the of Kaf HaChaim when it comes to premises of Bet HaKvarot, conquering 4 amot around them as well. And the Pri Megadim, actually, the Berurah, that if you have a land that is muktzeh Bet HaKvarot, that has been dedicated and designated to be used as Bet HaKvarot, even though that is far from the actors yet, they haven't gotten there yet. So says the Pri Megadim, how is it that you say Kaddish inside the Bet HaKvarot? People go there, they bury the deceased. Part of the funeral is you say certain things, say Kaddish there. So how is the minhag to say the Kaddish? And that's the kashya of Pri Megadim that asks on that shita to say to indicate that if you're in the Bet HaKvarot 4 amot away from the kever, still has a din of Bet HaKvarot. Says the Pri Megadim, how do you say anything there in the Bet HaKvarot if you can't go 4 amot away and say Dvarim Shebikdusha because the entire land is muktzeh for Bet HaKvarot? So then how do you say Kaddish? Now, Chalobadia explains that because the Kaddish that said is in Bet HaKvarot are said for kavod of the metim, for the respect of the metim. It's not that you're doing your own personal, selfish mitzvah, so to speak. You're doing something for them to elevate their neshama. Says the Chalobadia says it's not a isur av lo'eg l'rash. You're doing something for them, saying Tehillim for them, saying Kaddish for them, for their aliyat neshama. Then it's of course not considered Loeg Larash, even if you're saying it within the Dalet Amot of Kivarim. So according to Chacham Badia, and this becomes extremely relevant because you go to one of these older Batei Kivarot that you're getting one of the last Kivarim, all around it, there's no 4 Amot. You wish you had 2 Amot. There's a Mamash Kivarim are, millimeters away from each other because they want to cash in every little thing. When every inch of land is thousands of dollars, there's no 4 Amot that's empty. Every little, when they dig down and they put the cement box, you could oftentimes, if you pay attention, you can see the next cement box already that has been the kever. So you're always within 4 amot of a kever. So how do you say Kaddish altogether? How do you say Tehillim altogether? How do you say Pesukim altogether? So it says Chacham Badia, when you're doing it for the kavod of the metim, that's not considered loeg larash. So you could even do it really, not only in the premises of the Beit HaKavarot, and that's not against the Kafachayim. Even if you're machmir like Kafachayim, you could say it. But even within the 4 amot of the kever, you could say it. And Be'ezrat Hashem will continue some more of this in the days to come.